Oh, thank God. Right, let me find the light switch. There we go. Oh my, look at the state of it in here. Let's sort this lamp out. What happened to the pitch? Oh my God. Right, let's relax a bit. What's on TV? Come on.
In the
Oh God, depressing. Jack Whitehall. Ooh.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
This episode is based on Funny Families, so we're going to be taking a look at some clips I've been sent in, some of the stories that I've had off Facebook as well. On a side note, regarding the delay in this episode coming out, I'm really sorry. The animation you saw at the beginning and some of the other stuff in this took a lot longer than what I thought it was going to. Obviously I had to draw everything and I'm not, a particularly good drawer. So that's why it took longer, so huge apologies for that. I know I've had some comments asking when this is going to be coming out, so that's why. Like I said in some of the other videos I've put up about progress over when this is going to be uploaded. Sorry about that. I don't know if you heard that beep. But yeah, basically, like I said in the update video that I put up, about 10 seconds worth of animation took me about 4 or 5 hours because the progress and the methods I had to use to do the animations, basically you draw the stuff and then you move it millimeter by millimeter and you take photos, individual photos that equate to frames per second. So obviously normal videos are in about 25 frames per second. So you have to take so many photos to get so many frames and all this other stuff. So that's why it took so long. And it was a much more in-depth process than what I thought it was going to be. So that's why it took so long to get this episode up and out to you. So sorry for that, but just thought I'd explain to you as to why that happened. So the first story that I got sent was via Facebook, which was from, excuse me looking down, I'm reading it off my iPad. So the first story I got sent was by Anna Byrne. It's well, must have been uncomfortable. Basically she goes on to say, my aunt had a bit of a stupid accident giving herself a vitamin B injection. She put up with having rather a large vein for 2 weeks and being over 70 was more than worried about going to the hospital. In this current situation, everything went okay and the doctors came out to the drugstore with masks and gloves. The antibiotic pills seemed rather large that she was given. Luckily she read the label and afterwards realised they'd actually given her suppositories. So, thank God she didn't swallow them. Bloody hell, that would have been a hell of a pain in the neck, literally. So thank you, Anna, for sending that in. I hope your aunt's okay. The next clip, story I got sent was via Facebook again, and it was from some family of mine and Shannon's. It was via Trisha Norvell on Facebook. Which says Ali, which is her partner, Trisha's partner, and Caroline, his sister, went to an uncle's funeral where the hearse was led by, it was led through the graveyard by the Grim Reaper. And they got some really rather shot looks from some onlookers and dog walkers at the graveyard. So that must have been a pretty stirring experience for them. You know, I mean, it's like the last funeral I went to, which was one of my best friend's mums, Lynn, who sadly died. She was brought out to the Star Wars theme, the Darth Vader tune. I can't remember what it's called, but the dun, 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 that thing, which, you know, had a bit of a, it made everyone laugh, and it kind of lightened the mood a little bit. Obviously, being a funeral, you know, it's not gonna, you know, make everyone happy or anything, but it lightened the mood. And so, you know, having a procession led by the Grim Reaper, you know, I can only imagine what that was like. You know, based on that thesis, I suppose you can imagine what the wake was like. So this next video coming up is from my Uncle Dave. Now I do have to hold my hands up and admit I stole this from Facebook, but it was just too good not to include. This is, like I said, from my Uncle Dave. So I'm guessing it was his kind of birthday, and he had his inaugural kind of box of wine. But it always amazes me the difference between my dad and his brothers, because I would never get a video of my dad dancing or, you know, making a bit of an ass of himself, you know, just showing that he's having a good time. But I had to steal this off Facebook because it is such a good example, you know, of funny families. And it's funny because my dad, you know, he had Facebook for about 3 days, but he gave it up because it was too much maintenance, even though there was only 3 of us that he had on it. But here's Dave. So those of you who know me and Shannon know that we used to work down on the Bath Road, and we moved down that way because we both worked in the area. Primarily it was because we both worked in a pub called the Five Alls on Bath Road. The most unique pub that I've ever known. It was owned by a guy called Nick Townsend, who's an absolute legend, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Would do anything for you. Great family, Fran, Matt, Kerry, Jackie. Amazing job. We spent at least, oh well, I think I worked there for it must be getting on 4 years. And huge opportunities he gave me, hosting open mic nights, gigs. You know, let us have run of the place pretty much, and let us do whatever we wanted. Which brings me on to this next clip, which was from a karaoke night, which I found deep down in the archives of our Facebook. And it comes from a guy called Mark. Now, this is the first time Mark ever got up to do karaoke, and without doubt, it will be forever in my mind about this performance. Let's have a look at Mark.
count slowly, slowly, slowly getting faster. Once I start in count.
So carrying on with the archives from Facebook, this is another one that I had to kind of dig deep, quite far down to find. I think me and Shannon had only really known each other for about 6 months, been together, kind of thing. When this happened, but here's a clip of Shannon sounding like a moose on a zip line. I thought it was quite funny. Let's have a look. So I used to have this thing that me and Shannon kind of joked about when we got together, and it was called my treat walk. So because if I don't include it, I'll get taken the piss out of for including it. So here's my contribution and my treat walk. So there used to be this charity thing that used to go around. It still goes around a little bit now, but it was called the Ice Bucket Challenge, and we got nominations from, I think it was Dave Ratty or Tracy maybe, and it was me, Shannon, and Dan, a friend of ours when we was at uni, and basically what it involves is that you have to nominate 3 people, and then you have to pour like a ladle cup or so amount of water over your head that contains ice cubes, and it's supposed to shock you and it's supposed to make you laugh. Obviously when we did it, that you're about to see, we went well overboard with the amount of water and everything else. I think it was probably about 50-60 pints worth of water with ice in, and it was absolutely freezing. But Dan's video that we filmed was by far the best, and it still makes me laugh now. So here's Dan's video.
Hello Facebook viewers, thanks to Maria Rhodes, all 3 of us have been nominated to do the Ice Bucket Challenge. This is Dan, he will be going first. And he's going to nominate
Shelley, Tracy, and Dave. Oh God.
It's too heavy.
You ready, Dan? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, that is all.
Now, most of you probably know this story to do with Shannon, and it happened probably about 4 or 5 years ago. We was living down by St Paul's, and we was on our way to a pub called the Tavern, and it was raining. It was quite a wet night really, and we was on our way to karaoke, I think, or it might have been an open mic night, but it was down the Tavern, and we thought we'd go along like you do. Obviously, you know, completely stone cold sober at this point. You know, none of us had been drinking, but as we were walking down the road, because it'd been raining and the weather had been quite bad. The wind had blown off one of the recycling bin lids in the street, and I didn't see it, so I went to stand on it, and Shannon was like, she warned me, basically, like, don't stand on that, you'll fall. But she warned me quite late, to the point where I just kind of kicked it out of my way, so as I tried to avoid it. So in my kicking it, I kind of kicked the lid under her foot as she took a step. And as she stepped on it, one leg kind of went that way, the other leg went that way. She kind of did the splits, nearly split herself in half. And it, with hand on my heart, without doubt, it is literally one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a video of this, because it would make my year to show you what happened. But I do have an example of the kind of fall that took place, and I'll show you that now.
Oh, I'm disappointed. It's really like not that.
Now, we all know somebody called Dave. I know probably about 12. And this particular Dave that you're about to see is known as Disco Dave. And he was a real DJ, not the kind you read about in books or online or podcasts. He was a real Disco Dave. I didn't think they existed, but he proved me wrong. And this just is a prime example of a real Disco Dave, loving life, enjoying every moment. This is Dave. Now, talking about karaoke, there was quite a close kind of knit group of us that always used to go. They kind of included me, Shannon, Phyllis, Tracy, John, Steve, a couple of Steves. Shannon's dad, Chris, used to come along a lot as well. And Min, Adam, there was quite a few of us that used to regularly kind of go and get up and get involved. But what normally happened would, towards the end of the night, everybody would kind of slope off, and then there would be the kind of hardcore group of us right at the end. And what generally would happen is, because I'd be running karaoke, Shannon would kind of take over the DJing role, and just put songs on what people would have asked for. She never put on what people had asked. And she would only really allow requests for 3 of the following kind of areas, which was Happy Hardcore, Elvis, or Scooter. Now, those of you who know Shannon, you might know about the Elvis kind of stuff, because obviously she loves Elvis, she's got a tattoo of him. But you may not know about the other 2, and this next video coming up, there's more than one, explains what I mean by this. Let's have a look. So when I was about 5, I thought I'd be really clever and ride my scooter down the road like I did on a normal day. I'd ride past the front of our house, I'd ride up the street, I'd say hi to all my friends, and generally, being a kid, I didn't have a worry in the world. One day I decided to go up the road close to where some train tracks were, got distracted by the train, and then I carried on riding, went to make a jump, but because I was a bit obese when I was little, didn't make the jump, went flying over the handlebars, landed square on my crotch, and my dad had to come and collect me and take me to hospital. Here's a photo of what the outcome was. Be careful, kids. So guys, this is the end of the episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to everybody who sent me stories in. And I'm sorry it was late. Like I said, you know, things took longer than what I thought they was going to. But I'm really grateful for all the views the last episode had. I'm absolutely blown away by how much, you know, feedback I've had, and just how much, you know, kind of love and, you know, the amount of appreciation I've had for the last episode. So thank you so much. Carry on sharing, subscribe to YouTube. They will all, I promise, they will all be up by Monday. All the episodes, all the MP3s of the interviews that I did with James, Joe and Brentley will all be up in their MP3 form, as long with episodes 1, 2, 3 and this one will be up on YouTube by Monday. So like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you get alerted as to when I post more videos, and thank you everybody so much for the encouragement and love and support I've had through doing these. Cheers guys, I shall see you in episode 5. Take care, bye!
Baked potato changed my life. Baked potato showed me the way. If you want to know what is wrong from right, you must listen to what potatoes say.
Wash your hands and stay indoors.
Thank you, baked potato.
Only visit grocery stores.
Thank you, baked potato. And if you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say.
Keep your distance, make some space.
Thank you, baked potato.
Remember not to touch your face.
Thank you, baked potato. And if you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say. B-A-K-E-T-P-O-T-A-T-O. Baked potato.